Back with more action here on Get Down 20, the California State Championships. We switch now to the welterweight division, but some rumblings here. Scheduled to be a championship fight will not be the case because Leroy Castro did not make weight for the welterweight division. Therefore, Carlos Chavez awarded the championship, but these two will still face each other in the cage. So a shot perhaps for a moral victory by Castro. We'll see what happens. You got to give credit to both fighters for still getting in the cage and throwing down. This fight will not be for the title. Carlos Chavez in the black taking on Leroy Castro in the pink and black. And Carlos Chavez, the newly crowned champion, undefeated, a perfect 4-0 record he brings into the cage here tonight.
Yeah, and Leroy Castro, much more experience, 10-6 coming into tonight. As he gets, my goodness, the 2 or 3 reversals there. Castro, really a streaky fighter, had lost 3 fights in a row early on in his career as Chavez trying to work an arm triangle. Castro lost 3 in a row and has bounced back and won his last of 5 fights.
Able to battle back. And Carlos Chavez now in the top position, working out of that half guard.
See Chavez trying to push that tricep, get his head around that arm and work that arm triangle. Stuck in the half guard of Castro. Castro has a lockdown as he abandons and goes for the reversal and gets it.
Castro showing his strength there. The bigger of the two fighters, a little bit too big. Cost him a championship opportunity, but he'd still love to win the fight. See what happens.
And if you're Carlos Chavez, you got to do a better job of maintaining top position. Todd, we've talked about being on the bottom of these fights, not necessarily where you want to be. It's tougher to land submissions from the guard. Submission defense has really come along in the last 5 to 10 years in MMA. So bottom position is not necessarily where you want to be unless you have an amazing guard. And we'll find out about Carlos Chavez and see if he does have that here tonight.
You say that, but you remember what happened in our last fight. Manuel Ruiz spent a lot of that first round on his back and ended up getting the submission victory later on in the fight. So long way to go for these two, but for right now, Castro exhibiting the cage control at this point in the matchup in that top position as he now looks to secure the full mount in the ground and pound.
And I say that about the bottom, but I think that's what makes some of these amateur fights so entertaining, Todd, is that the fact that some of these guys can win from the bottom because they're not as experienced as Carlos. Eats a couple of right hands there and some danger. But you're more likely to see a submission from the guard in amateur MMA than you are to see at the high levels, such as the UFC, Bellator. We have obviously higher level athletes, a lot more training experience, and a lot better submission defense.
Agreed, but in terms of the amateur ranks, the fighters that we've seen this week and last are really seasoned veterans, because a lot of them you got to think are really on the cusp of going pro, especially somebody like Castro who's got
over 10 fights.
Yes, 17 fights to his credit, and he's looked good here in the first round thus far.
And you mentioned the experience. This is California State Amateur Championship, so we're really seeing some of the best amateur fighters in the state which has and produces some of the top MMA prospects around the world.
First round comes to a close there. Leroy Castro able to exhibit control much through that first round. We'll see if the newly crowned champion, Chavez, can get things going his way, can turn it around. We'll find out right after this on Get Down 20, the California State Championships.